What's up, it's cinemashogun here, and I'm sure a lot of you all are aware of some of the struggles that Wendy Williams has been facing over the last few years. And if you're not aware, Google is your friend. Do a quick Google search because explaining all of this stuff would take way too long. But long story short, Wendy Williams has been dealing with a lot of health issues, both mentally and physically for the last few years. Of course, she lost her show. There's been reports out there that some of her family members were stealing from her and exploiting her as she was dealing with these mental health issues. There's also rumors out there that her team is exploiting her and stealing money from her as she starts to slowly lose her mind. There's conservatorships, guardianships, people taking control of her finances, all of that stuff. So basically, Wendy Williams has not been doing too good. Now, naturally, the talk of conservatorships and the talk of mental illness has attracted a certain portion of mentally ill people online, okay? We see this all the time. There's this group, right? There's this group of mentally ill people on the internet that like to attach themselves to mentally ill celebrities and make excuses for their behavior to make themselves feel better about themselves. Like, a lot of you out there have hobbies. Maybe you like gardening. Maybe you like bungee jumping. These people, in their spare time, all they do is sit online all day defending mentally ill and drug-addicted celebrities, defending their actions, basically enabling them until they die. We've seen it happen plenty of times. We've seen it with people like Aaron Carter recently. It's playing out as we speak with Britney Spears and Bam Margera. The same people responsible for all of that nonsense are now trying to attach themselves to this Wendy Williams situation, which is where I step in. Because when you have a lot of mentally ill people out here controlling the narrative and the conversation, no good comes from that. So I'm here to inject a little bit of common sense and trust and believe some common sense is really needed in this situation. Why, you ask? Well, because it was recently revealed that Wendy Williams is suffering from dementia. Sometimes she's starting to forget her own name. She's starting to forget some of the people around her. Her limo driver claims that sometimes Wendy Williams would try to make him take her to work, not realizing that her show was canceled like years ago. Sometimes she'll make her driver take her to a location, and once they leave the location, she'll make him take her back because she forgot that they ever went. Sometimes she forgets who her driver even is. So she is really bad off from everything I'm hearing. But as we're getting this news about how bad off Wendy Williams is, we're also getting the news that Wendy Williams' family and the people around her decided it was a good idea to make a new reality show docuseries documenting Wendy Williams literally lose her mind on TV. I don't understand what there is to document here. They're basically documenting her losing her hair. Her eyes are getting bigger. She's starting to forget the people around her. They're documenting as C and D list celebrities come to pretend like they're best friends with Wendy Williams so they can get their 15 minutes of fame. And speaking of 15 minutes of fame, from everything I've seen, it seems like the niece, Wendy Williams' niece, is kind of spearheading this operation. Now, I looked into it a little bit. I think she's like a reporter. So it's obvious that she's kind of trying to get on TV and get some clout. She's doing interviews on The View, on CNN, on Good Morning America, all of this. And the craziest part is that the title of this docuseries is Where is Wendy Williams, right? They're trying to drum up this big fake mystery that's not really there. There's no mystery about where Wendy Williams is. They all know where Wendy Williams is. You got a docuseries titled, Where is Wendy Williams? And Wendy Williams is the star of the show. If you want to know where Wendy Williams is, look right here on this documentary. She's literally right here. You're filming her lose her mind. And then you have the nerve to say, where is Wendy Williams? You see the situation that played out with Britney Spears' conservatorship? This is the type of negative effects that it's having on our society. Because now people are trying to turn every single little situation where someone's dealing with mental health issues or drug addiction, they're trying to turn it into this big mystery. Oh my God, where is Wendy Williams? She's being kept in a secret facility. Yet somehow we were able to film this whole documentary showing us hanging out with Wendy Williams as she loses her mind. Now, at the end of the day, I want to remind everyone that we don't know the full story here, and we never will. You can do as much research as you want. You can look into as many documents as you want. At the end of the day, you don't know the inner workings and what's going on intimately between Wendy Williams, her family, and the people closest to her. So from the outside looking in, people all think they know what's best all of the time, but honestly, none of y'all know the half of what's really going on with Wendy Williams, and neither do I. And I won't pretend to. Now, as I said earlier, there's already been reports out there that her family has exploited her and stole from her. Maybe we'll look into that further in another video, but there's also rumors about her team exploiting her. But if you want to know the honest truth, to me, it looks as if none of the parties involved have Wendy's best interest at heart, because if they did, she would be getting the treatment that she needs, or she would just be living her life freely, living her life, doing whatever peacefully, instead of having a documentary here documenting her very worst days, basically just to embarrass her and to exploit her so other people can make a few dollars, or at the very least get their faces shown on TV. And boy, oh boy, that niece wants her face all over your TV screens by any means necessary. I can tell you that right now. I mean, it really looks to me like both sides are exploiting her and taking advantage of her current situation, while accusing the other side of trying to exploit her and take advantage of her situation. Basically, both sides are at war with each other, trying to figure out who gets to ultimately take advantage of her in the long run. It's not like both sides are fighting for what's best for Wendy Williams. It's like both sides are fighting to see who gets to control the exploitation of Wendy Williams. You got family members crawling out of the woodwork. Everyone wants to be on the new docuseries. Everyone wants to be on TV. Everyone wants to come together all of a sudden, right, to exploit their crazy auntie. That's basically what this is. Hey, everyone, let's try to get on camera with our crazy auntie. That's basically what's happening. And it's so easy to poke holes all throughout this story. They depend on people being emotional. They depend on playing with your emotions. And I notice that they often try to target women with this because they know that women are often more sentimental. You're more likely to feel some type of way. You're more likely to sympathize with the situation or something along those lines. But it's so obvious what's going on here to me. And I mean, just listen to these clips. Hopefully, I don't get copyrighted for this. Hopefully, I can show these clips, because to me, these clips say a lot. Let's go ahead and roll these, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
Thin Wendy. This documentary is hard to watch.
I know.
Very hard to watch.
Yeah. I said I wasn't going to cry because I feel like I've cried enough over the last year and a half. But what people are going to see is a broken woman who has had the world on her shoulders for so long and just cracked.
Alex Finney, Wendy's niece and goddaughter, now breaking the family silence.
I feel like I've been living in this secret bubble for a very long time.
Lifetime producers witnessing low moments with excessive drinking, fits of anger.
Go! Drive! I have no idea where we are.
and bouts of incoherence.
I have no friends. You know how many people come out to support you? You know how many people love you? No, I don't.
Some people are going to look at this and say, this is exploitation. She's being exploited. How could they do this?
Right. But I will say this, first and foremost, my aunt is the executive producer of this documentary. And she said, now is the perfect time because I want to take ownership of my story.
Our first caress.
For many, Wendy's story took a dramatic turn on Halloween of 2017 when she collapsed on her show.
Keep it cool. Keep it there. Okay.
Is she an alcoholic?
So in terms of being an alcoholic, I don't want to categorize her because, I'm not a medical professional, but what I can say is that my aunt has had some unhealthy habits when it's come to alcohol.
They discovered a lonely, agitated woman. People will look at this documentary and wonder, where's her family?
Right.
How come family's not there saving her?
Because family was shut out.
We would take responsibility with regard to guardianship and personal needs to ensure that she was healthy. I'm not talking about her money. You put the money over here.
A New York judge appointed a guardian to manage her life and finances. That action coming after her bank, Wells Fargo, claimed in 2022 court documents that Wendy was a victim of undue influence and financial exploitation.
The court is going to look at the best interest of the individual. It will be based on the evidence that's presented as to how the family was helping Wendy Williams at the time.
If it happens to me, it could happen to you.
Overnight, Wells Fargo telling ABC News this matter was conducted under seal. Any claims against Wells Fargo have been dismissed. There was talk that Wells Fargo got involved in this because they thought either her son, Kevin Jr., or somebody was taking advantage of her financially.
Yeah.
Do you know that to be true?
So I personally have not seen family taking advantage of my aunt's money. I haven't.
Have you ever taken money from your mother's account?
Not without her consent.
Family members insisting their biggest concern is Wendy's well-being after noticing her apparent cognitive decline. During this filming, at what point did you know something was seriously wrong?
Oh, right off the bat. When I saw her, she didn't have to say one thing. I knew that every cylinder is not firing the way it should.
You are bigger than this?
Does anyone else, am I the only one that sees the issue here? In one breath, it's, oh, Wendy is, she's not the same anymore. She's dealing with this. She's forgetting this. And then in the next breath, when you're trying to defend yourself and trying to claim that you're not taking advantage of the situation, is, oh, Wendy's the executive producer. Wendy gets to say so. This is Wendy's idea. Wendy wants this. Wendy wanted to do this. Wendy's the producer here. What? I thought y'all didn't know where Wendy Williams was. They're out here on the news saying they have no idea where Wendy Williams is. They don't get to talk to Wendy Williams. Oh my God, where is my aunt? And then in the next sentence, she'll say, oh, I talked to my aunt on the phone. She's the one that came up with the ideas for the documentary. She's the producer. She's working on this. Which one is it? Either you have no communication and you don't know where this woman is, or you do. And it looks like you do. Because in one breath, it's, oh, we don't know what's going on. She's so bad off, blah, 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 blah. And then in the next breath, oh, she's mentally capable of putting together a reality show and being the producer of this reality show. She's perfectly capable of making all of these decisions, but none of the other decisions. I mean, really, use your noodle, use common sense. They're telling you they don't know where this woman is, while literally showing you videos of where this woman is. They're claiming they don't have communications with her, yet they're saying that they do have communications with her when it comes to the documentary. Because, oh, Wendy Williams wants this documentary out there. Wendy Williams wants to have cameras rolling as she's looking crazy, forgetting people's names. What? I honestly, Wendy Williams is the type of person, I don't know what she would want. And at the end of the day, I don't feel too terribly bad about this situation. I think there's so many other things going on in the world that deserve my sympathy. I mean, it's a horrible situation, but Wendy Williams made a living off of kicking people when they're down. Wendy Williams was always known as the person who would take it there. When other people wouldn't take it there, Wendy Williams would take it there. She's been involved in her fair share of controversies. She's done a lot of questionable, horrible things to people. Let's just say that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and be like, she deserves this. But karma, maybe it is karma. But at the end of the day, that's not what this is about for me. What this is about is honesty. And when I see these fake narratives being formed and all of this nonsense, it's hard not to step in with a voice of reason. Because we can't sit here and pretend like no one knows where Wendy Williams is. We can't sit here and pretend like, oh, Wendy Williams doesn't remember people's names. She's got dementia. She's gone crazy. She's lost her mind. But then, oh, Wendy Williams is perfectly okay to be a producer of this reality show. All of this is Wendy's idea. This is Wendy's decision. Wendy signed off on this. Which one is it? Which one is it? Because it looks to me like everyone involved, including the family, maybe even specifically mostly the family, it looks like y'all are taking advantage of her situation. That's what this looks like to me. There should be no reason why Wendy Williams and her mental decline is documented on Lifetime or on E or wherever. Okay? And it'd be one thing if you put out this documentary while being honest about the situation, but that's not happening here. We're getting a documentary watching this woman be exploited as one side complains about the other side exploiting her, but they're both obviously exploiting her in various different ways. And they just want you to be wrapped up in the nonsense once again, like they wrapped you up with the Free Britney movement and other stuff like that. And before you know it, who knows where the story will go? We may be seeing Wendy Williams spinning around on Instagram soon. I honestly don't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect next. But at the very least, it's become obvious to me that some of her family members want to turn this into the next big Free Britney thing because they know it's very lucrative. They know they can make a lot of money. They can get a lot of exposure that way. And that's the negative effect that stuff like that has on our society. Now we're going to see other people stepping up, trying to, do the same thing. And that's what's happening here. I am not going to sit here and say that I know every detail about what's happening with Wendy. I'm obviously not going to say what I think is best or what's worse for Wendy. But at the end of the day, when I'm looking at the situation, it's hard for me to ignore the fact that her niece is out here claiming that she has little to no contact, that the family has no contact with Wendy, and no one knows where Wendy is. But then when they ask her questions like, do you think your family's exploiting Wendy by doing this documentary? When the media presses her at all and ask her other questions, all of a sudden we talked to Wendy about this. I talked on the phone with Wendy about this. Wendy's the producer. Wendy's this, Wendy's that. How can Wendy be so heavily involved in this documentary if for one, you don't know where she is, and if for two, you don't really have any communications with her? So I know I've said it 100 times already, but I really want to drill it in your head. This needs to be drilled in everyone's head because it is a big detail that everyone seems to be missing. I don't know why, but everyone's missing it. Everyone's missing this. It's right there in your face. The lady is constantly talking about how there's no communication with Wendy, but then when they ask her other questions about the documentary and if it's right for her family to be making this documentary, all of a sudden she's had so many communications with Wendy about that, right? We don't know where she is. We can't talk to her. We're not allowed. Okay, well, do you think, your family should be making this documentary? What would you say to people who think that you're exploiting Wendy? Oh, well, I talk to Wendy all the time. Wendy's the producer. I talk to Wendy wants this. Wendy blah, blah. All a bunch of BS. I can't wait to see where these people take it from here. Get ready to see the usual suspects crawling out of the woodworks, trying to take advantage of this situation like they always do. Let me know your thoughts, though, down in the comments below. While you're down there, you can donate to the channel via Cash App, or you can help the channel for free by liking, sharing, subscribing, and all of that good stuff. But with that being said, I'll talk to you all soon in the next one.